said, are some people not curious due to lack of dopamine, or is it something else? That's a great question.
Yeah.
So the good news is that we all have this capacity to be curious. And one of my working hypotheses is that society, at least Western society, I'll put it this way, it hasn't spotlighted curiosity as a superpower. So often, there's this posturing around, oh, I've got to be in charge, or I have to be in the know, or I need to know the answer to things. Fortunately, we've seen in the last couple of years, people highlight the curiosity. This is even a cover of the Harvard Business Review on this journal that kind of highlighted curiosity in business and how important and helpful it can be. So my working hypothesis is that, in an attempt to be in control or be seen as knowledgeable or in control, we often try to, diminish that not knowing capacity, which is ironically just gets in the way. So I don't think it's a lack of dopamine. I think it's a lack of society seeing how critical and important and helpful curiosity is. And that's also good news, because we can also, well, I'll speak from my own experience and just from the programs we've developed, it doesn't take that long for people to start to awaken it and see how powerful it is. And because it feels good, it becomes much easier to have it become this virtuous loop. So thank you for that question. And, it's not that some people have it and some don't. It's more a matter of how quickly can we cultivate it and see how great it feels when we are curious. I'll mention that, speaking of cats and curiosity, I have a very affectionate kitten. With curiosity, if we notice afterwards, what was it like when I was curious as compared to when I wasn't curious? That helps to reinforce it through positive reinforcement. When we notice how it helps a situation when we're open to listening, for example, in a meeting with people or to a family member or a friend, as compared to jumping to a conclusion, we can see how helpful it is to be curious as compared to not. And if we can reflect on it afterwards, that actually helps reinforce it, because we're like, oh, that was helpful. Whether it was, from helping us with a panic attack or just helping us be open in a conversation with someone else. Okay, Lily, you had your hand up, please.
Yes, thank you. Two things quickly. I'm reading your book, and just the first two sections. I'm about to go to section 3, so I've been practicing. First, I want to thank you for writing it in a way that a person that has not gone to medical school or that kind of thing can understand. It's very, very understandable. And anyway, and the second thing is, what I've been working with is asking myself, the question, what are you telling me? In the curiosity part. But what I got when we just did our little exercise, which I really, really loved, so I wrote it down, is the question is, what are you telling me that I am not listening to? So
I love that.
I put it together. It's like, it isn't just what are you telling me? It's what are you telling me that I am resisting so much that I'm not even going to listen to it.
Yeah. I love that. And that highlights, often we have, I think of it as meeting our needs as compared to feeding our wants. And so often, we'll ignore, and not listen to our intuition or our wise minds and bodies. So I love how you put that. What are you telling me that I'm not listening to? Because often we'll be running away from our experience or distracting ourselves, which also brings forward a couple of my favorite quotes, which is, the only way out is through. I'm sure many folks have heard that one, where it's like, if we run from our experience, we're not actually going to learn from it and be able to listen to what are you telling me that I'm not listening to? So the only way out is through. And then another one attributed to the Stoics, or I think Marcus Aurelius specifically, sorry to keep quoting dead white men, but it was basically the only way out is through, or the obstacle becomes the way. What stands in the way becomes the way, or something like that. And when we bring in curiosity as our superpower, it helps us say, oh, what are you telling me that I'm not listening to, as compared to, oh, I'm going to run away and not listen. So I love how you bring that forward.